The title today is Gangs and Drug Violence, the Quest for Respect, Power, and Belonging. Now, when we look at gangs, there are a number of types. There's the local street gang, which is typically, it's dangerous, but less dangerous than, say, more with larger, more organized gangs. All the gangs have some sense of organization, some more than others. They have leadership, they have rules, they have a structure, initiation procedures, what happens if you try to leave. Some gangs you can leave, some it's in for life. So you have the local street gangs, you have the outlaw motorcycle gangs, the prison gangs, and then you have youth gangs of young people under 24. Typically, gangs started out as a male enterprise. Now, though, women over the last 20 years have entered into the ranks of the gangs as well. There are over 22,000 gangs throughout America. There's over 750,000 gang members in all 50 states. The number one cause of violent crimes in America is related to gang violence. It's the number one cause of violence in our country. It might even be considered as an internal terrorist threat. Perhaps it should be under Homeland Security. I'm going to put that question out to you, the viewership. Should it be under Homeland Security or not? Possibly, and I say just possibly, there have been more deaths related to our own gangs than we have from the fundamentalist Muslim society, which are a menace to us now. Definitely they are a menace, need to be dealt with. But also, it's possible that we've had more deaths in America related to the gangs that are here. In which case, we need to think and consider the question, should it be really a Homeland Security issue? Should it be considered a terrorist threat? It's a question. Now, when you look at the types of violence perpetrated, you have something that's been maybe in the last 20 years, drive-by shootings. One type of, sometimes that's an initiation, but it's also part of what happens. You have the types of crimes that involve extortion, where they go to different businesses and set up, and different gangs will be involved. They'll say, well, we're going to give you protection, so they extort. Murder for hire, or just murdering competition. And we're seeing huge drug wars of gang lords. They're practically like warlords. Some nations, like in Afghanistan, have warlords, but we have drug lords, and they have their turfs and became business. Now, to begin with, gangs weren't always businesses. No, that's a recent development. Many of the original gangs were there to protect the neighborhood. You had the Black Panthers, they protected the neighborhood. When that disintegrated, you had the Bloods come in, and they became more of a violent, non-protective, murderous group involved with drugs and business. But the Black Panther was a protective agency that protected the community, took care of medical supplies and so forth. And that's the case in many of the gangs. They were really serving the community. That's gone now. For the most part, that is gone. So they're involved with drive-bys, assaulting people, extortion, murder, the dealing in drugs, which is huge, became very profitable. Many of the gangs turned to businesses. Hell's Angel, that initially was mostly people who were vets from the Vietnam War, Hell's Angels, but it became a well-organized drug cartel all over America, into Canada, well-organized. Then it's drugs, prostitution, robberies. Now, when the money is made this way, of course, as we all know, it's not only a lot of money, it's tax-free. I don't pay taxes on this. So many of the more organized groups have drug laundering. It could be in real estate, recording studios, motorcycle shops, construction companies, restaurants, strip joints, tattoo parlors. These are some of the more common laundering places that money is laundered in as a front for the drug trade. Now, the youth gangs, often the youth, particularly if they've served in a juvenile correctional facility, they're more at risk to going into an adult gang when they leave. And some of the signs they're getting involved are the clothing. They try to imitate the rap artists, tattoos, truancy at school, usually typically using drugs and alcohol.